coming up.
Wait, so are we all agreeing that mimics are tied to time, past, present, and future?
Just because of this one conversation, my whole thoughts on paranormal activity and ghosts and everything is slightly shifting, and I don't like that.
So we've played tag and hide and seek and ring around the rosy with a ghost. Have you ever played Simon
I
Says
think
with
it's
a
a
ghost?
strong possibility. Before this podcast, before we
No.
started
Oh, we also
recording
played
this
hot and
episode,
cold with a ghost before.
I would have never thought of
Ooh,
it.
that was
Never thought of
fun.
it.
We used
That was really fun.
This is
the Estes method, and you were asking
and
like
rods.
and the dowsing rods at the same time, yes, and using both devices, trying to have the spirit pick an object and see if through Estes and the rods separately, both people can have a certain item be identified in the room, and it worked. But Simon
was fun.
Says, yes, it was. But Simon Says is where you do something and invite the spirit, or usually with a person, but in this case it would be with a spirit. You invite them to copy you, to do the same thing. If I say Simon Says raise your right hand, and then the spirit raises the right hand, you would then be playing Simon Says with a ghost. We haven't played Simon Says, but
yeah.
we've had some unconsensual copying, mimicking.
Unconventional.
Unconsensual.
What did you say, Angela? Unconventional? That was unconventional. I didn't give you convention.
Benny, you guys know I have issues with words sometimes.
You could have just ended it as I have issues. And
The fact Brianna admits that I also have issues and she doesn't live
we
with
all
me.
have issues, okay? It's not a bad thing.
No. We go ghost hunting.
The ghosts.
The ghosts. No, we've had mimics happen, and I guess the point of that little weird intro about Simon Says was none of the instances where all of us have been mimicked before. In no instance have we said, "Hey, ghost, can you mimic us?" It was always just out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
Yeah.
Suddenly we're talking to what? Ourselves? What is a mimic? Is it us? Is there a one
Something
singular?
else?
Yeah.
Is it us in the future?
That's a good theory. I'm thinking
Is it us in the past?
that's
Us in
another
the
good
past.
theory. I'm thinking like this is like the whole thing like
You're
with
like,
the Hat Man.
"Oh,
Is it one singular
thank
mimic? Is it us? Is it just a type of haunting? Is it a phenomena that's any spirit can do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a topic. So yeah, let's talk about it.
Hell yeah."
Simon Says, let's get this topic started. Welcome to our podcast where we take deep dives
Looking at various topics through a paranormal lens.
So, to set the scene, last week we were doing a live investigation at the State House in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I posted this on social media. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on Insta, if you're on TikTok, you can see this. Angela's voice came through the spirit box loud and clear. She got mimicked.
Okay, now that was weird. That was a voice that came through and that sounded like me. I feel like that sounded like me. That was really weird.
Can you elaborate on how you felt? Was it scary? How did it feel hearing your own voice come through?
It wasn't necessarily scary hearing my voice come through. It was more fascinating because I heard that was my own voice and it automatically registered to me. I was like, that was my voice. I feel like I have a very unique, annoying voice in a way, maybe.
Not
I
annoying.
don't know.
It's unique because it's a great voice. Great things can be unique just like bad things can be unique. It's unique in all the right reasons.
Everyone makes fun and jokes about like my laughing and stuff, and
Why?
I feel
I
like
love
I
your
just kind of
laughing.
have a high pitched
No.
annoying
Not
No.
true.
forward voice.
No.
And I was just like, it's just like that was me. That was me. That was 100% me.
Hmm.
it was more fascinating because I'm like, there's no one else in the house. What did it even say again? I don't remember.
It said, "Let me."
Let
Let
me,
me,
which
let
is
Yeah.
me.
horrifying in
It
hindsight
was
if you
like,
really
let
think
me.
about it. Like letting you in, let me in. Like what's the let
Or,
me?
I mean, Angela at the time was handcuffed, so it could have been like, "Let me out" or "Let me go" or
Oh
Ooh,
yeah, this was for anyone listening. Be like, what handcuffed? We did a
handcuff.
live and we uh handcuffed Angela to a haunted portal closet in the state house,
Yeah, they did.
and left her alone
mm-hmm,
to do this live.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
um, that's when her own voice came through the box and said, "Let me." And then she was like, "Ooh, cool! This is fun."
Yeah.
Because I
Um,
feel like when I watched that video back, I wasn't like, oh my god, that was my voice. I gotta get out here. That's so creepy. I was just like,
Yeah, you were like,
wait a minute.
"Wait a minute. That
Hold
was
up. Wait
me."
a minute. That wasn't right. Okay, now that was weird. That was a voice that came through and that sounded like me. I feel like that sounded like me. That was really weird.
Brianna, you haven't heard your voice being mimicked, but there was one instance where we're up north, actually up north, objectively
Mm-hmm.
up north, because it was in the Upper Peninsula, so no one can
Mm-hmm.
dispute that we're talking about up north. Okay, a lot of people in Michigan be crazy. We were up
A lot of
north.
people are crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Not just Michigan, but
It,
yeah.
but in Michigan, like geography is like a weirdly
Yeah.
obsessive thing and people always debate when we say northern Michigan.
Whatever. Just,
Yeah.
anyways.
What was that sound? Do it again?
No.
Okay.
I'll do it. Bleh.
You're the worst mimic ever. You wouldn't even pass as a mimic.
I wouldn't. I
If that
wouldn't.
came through the box, I wouldn't even think that was a mimic.
That's funny.
Anyways, we're at the Mission Hill Cemetery, and a few episodes ago, this is that cemetery, the same cemetery, um,
Mm-hmm.
where we were talking about like a potential portal opened up, right? Right before that
Yep.
portal opened up, we were doing Estes method session, and I was under the Estes, and I heard clear as day Brianna's voice come through the spirit box. I don't remember what it said. I
Yeah,
can
I was
probably
just about to say
find it.
I don't even really remember. I don't remember if you said what it had said.
I think I was just freaking out because I heard your voice, and I
Yeah.
said like, "Oh, I just heard Brianna."
I'm trying to think of because I feel like because like you said, you guys have had your voices mimicked, and I'm trying to
Piercini too.
remember.
Angela, what's up with Angela being mimicked?
Oh yeah,
We
I
Yeah,
forgot
in
about
yeah,
Pirashini.
that's also in the film.
Yeah, it was through the recorder and it said mom, but it sounded like my voice.
So we got 70 and 91. So we got 70 and 91.
It sounds like mom. Wait, no, it has to be me. It sounds like my voice, but at the same time, it says
I
it
don't think it was
mom, so I don't
There
know.
there is such a thing as like a mimic.
that was something simple. Let's try.
we were investigating the cemetery of Piercini, and this is in
Hmm.
the documentary Piercini Plague in the Pines. Go watch it if you haven't. It's a full-length documentary. We were investigating the children, and we are doing an EVP session, and we were talking with a child named Blake, and all the EVPs were like whispers, like you expect, like "My name's Blake," but like sounding like a kid, right? There was one voice, clear as day, of Angela saying "mom," and she did not say "mom." So it was as
Hmm.
if it was still talking to that kid, but then it was Angela's voice. Angela, say "mom."
Mom.
It sounded just like that, but obviously not like "mom." It sounded like "mom." Say like
Mom.
say yeah, a little more excited. You're seeing
Okay,
your
okay.
mom.
It sounded like when I'm annoyed with my mom. It was like, Mom.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I thought it was your excited voice. That's actually your annoyed voice. Okay.
But what's funny too is like we were talking about all these circumstances where our voices have been mimicked. If you watch the film and you watch that part where you guys are going over the audio and you're like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, that sounds like Angela. And she just looks at the camera like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, the most annoyed look. It's not even like, oh my God, that was my voice. It was, You're joking. Like, this is the stupidest thing ever. Like, why is this like, why? Like,
Honestly, I was like,
you were so
I
annoyed.
was like, oh my god.
Like,
Well, and then another thing too, that night, I think we were just in the zone too, because that wasn't even the only mimic experience we
That
had.
was a scary night. I'm not gonna lie.
It was. So
That was really terrifying.
Trevor, who co-hosts the What Goes Bump podcast, it's called What Goes Bump in the Night. Their, you know, name is What Goes Bump, and they always say, "Welcome to What Goes Bump."
Was bump.
And we're gonna link their podcast in the description of this podcast. What Goes Bump in the Night. You should go listen to their stuff. Really great podcast they have. But clear as day, we just hear we're turning on the spirit box, and we plug it in. And as we're getting it situated, it's not even sweeping. It's just the speakers on. Clear as day, Trevor's voice comes through saying, "What goes bump?" in a way he's never said it before.
But it
Would
was
never say,
him.
but it was clearly him, and we all look
And
at
it
him.
was clearly what goes bump.
Yep, and that was captured on camera and included too. So two people got mimicked saying relevant things. Because that's a scary implication too, right? Hear me out here. Mom, doesn't imply that it knows you at all, just your voice. It knew Trevor's voice, how to mimic his voice, and it knew the name of his podcast to repeat it, but just uncanny enough to be different and noticeably wrong. Isn't that kind of scary?
Yeah.
yes.
I don't think either of them said what goes bump in the night while they were there until
No.
that happened.
No, they didn't say
It's
it out loud. It's not like when we
weird.
introduce ourselves, just like, "Hi, I'm Trevor. I always say what goes bump on a podcast." It's like that's not something you say during an EVP session. So it
Yeah.
wasn't. And this is when we were setting up too. So,
Oh, it was weird. That was weird.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing about mimics to me in general is like the uncanny valley
It's
of it
very
all.
uncanny. It's
yeah.
like
Well, because I'm trying to think of a circumstance in which I have heard, like, been in the same thing and have, like, place and have heard it, like, in person in the moment. And the only one I can think of is when I was doing Estes Method alone in the basement of Madison. And I heard 3 people's voices come through. I heard Adam's voice.
Adam Kimmel, the owner of the location.
I'm pretty sure I heard your voice.
Mine?
Yeah. And I think I heard one other person's voice.
not mine. Thank God.
No,
I
not
wasn't there
yours.
that night.
Yeah, one of
What
the
do you
other
mean,
people
thank
was
God?
with us.
If Bree said I heard Angela's voice, she would have been like, "Oh yeah, that's cool."
Yeah, I
Well,
heard
not
Angela's
now. You're saying
voice.
thank God.
Yeah.
It's Madison. Okay, that's a
that's
whole
true.
different story. Okay, there's something more than just paranormal going on there.
Ugh.
I'm sorry, but there's
Well, I
something
think
way more
time
going
works
on there.
differently there in
Oh
general.
yeah,
So,
100%.
do you think these weird places with weird time, and also Piercini, we had multiple mimic encounters, but that's also a place we went to very often in a short time, right? So could you know what I'm getting at? Like,
I
could
think
the
there's a
different
high
times...
potential that it could be like us hearing something from a different place, different time, like an impression of ourselves of a moment, like
Yeah,
like residual energy.
Okay, and then also,
that would make sense.
if the common,
Cheese layers come back in,
no, we're not talking about cheese layers.
but it would make so much sense.
But cheese layers do make sense, Ben. The cheese
layers
layers
make
Okay,
sense in
I'm
this
gonna say what I'm
moment.
gonna say after you explain the cheese layers. How do the cheese layers relate here?
Even Brianna understands. So I was just saying, if this is imprints of us from the future or the past, that would go to my cheese layer theory of that past, present, and future are all overlaid with each other.
Different layers of cheese. Or if you want to think about it in the apartment sense, you got first, second, and third floor, and like things can shift between the floors sometimes.
Go
if
listen
you
to
got if you
episode
need
8.
to yeah, I was gonna say if you need to understand it, go listen to the other episode about the cheese.
I
We
just
We
got a
don't need to
whole
fully explain it.
episode about the cheese layers.
I spent way too much time just now finding what's that stupid episode where we talked about cheese the whole episode? Equating cheese, layers of cheese melting onto each other and fusing in a sandwich to the residual hauntings. But anyways, my point was most people talk about like records, like it's a record just replaying itself on a loop. Could, if you want to equate that way, I don't know the cheese layer equivalent to this, but records, could the record warping and being warped or distorted over time equate for the uncanny valley aspect of the mimics?
That is an interesting thought.
And then what are the implications of if we are encountering our own residual energy, us in a different time as residual energy when we encounter our mimics, every mimic encounter is uncanny and not exactly dead on to some degree. So what are the implications then of any spirits we encounter? Are we ever encountering the true representation of the spirit we're encountering?
Interesting. I do really like that idea of like a warped record, because like it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that it makes so much sense, but it makes sense. I
Another
don't hate
thing,
that it makes sense. It's interesting.
I know, but like another thing
I
too
hate that it
that
doesn't make as much sense to me as the cheese layers. That's what I hate right now.
another thing too, this is getting kind of meta. Did we create this? Okay. So we're talking if a mimic existing, let's use Pirashini as the example here. A mimic existing at Pirashini is because our residual energy of the multiple times we went there over the course of a short time, over the course of 6 months, we're then engaging with our imprints out of time, not in a linear manner, right? We could be encountering future, Angela, past Angela. It's all just this residual energy from
Mm-hmm.
us
I mean,
hyper
even in that
concentrating.
circumstance, you could even be interacting with present you, but it's just a... I'm
My
sorry.
point is, yes, you're breaking my brain, but the point is, time isn't real there in this instance, right? We'd be, if theory is true, is that because of us? Because we are making a film and the film is not presented chronologically, linearly. We are taking these moments and fragmenting them, taking them out of their context to create a abstract film. And then when we look back on the events of Pirashini, I can't even pinpoint which investigation it was because it didn't happen in that order in the film.
Yeah.
So we are juggling time and manipulating time. Are we creating the environment by making a nonlinear film to have these out of time experiences even be possible?
Hmm.
Again, getting really meta here, really
Yeah.
woo-woo,
Very
but
meta.
that's kind of strange if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the mimic experiences we've really had were when we were filming stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And even Angela had
Interesting.
the mimic this past week at the State House during a live stream where
I had 108 people hear that with their own
yeah,
ears.
live. Yeah, you had like over 1,000 people in and out, but that moment you had over 100 people in different time zones focused on this one moment that then is going to be taken out of the context of a live stream and placed in a film. It's all you see what I mean? All these things are about time and being manipulated, and I think there's certain conditions then that can be right.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the camp then that mimics aren't a singular entity or a type of entity like a hat man or something that's running around like the
But
the
could it
mimic.
be? Could it be?
Could it
Could there
be?
be could there be an
It could, yeah,
actual
it could be.
mimic, or is it a combination of both?
Well, do you think spirits can mimic? Do you think most spirits we engage with can they just I guess like one of their superpowers.
I don't think so.
I think
I don't think. I
if
think
that's the,
they could like mimic you in a mocking sense, but I
if
don't think they could.
Like what
yeah.
Angela did.
Yeah.
Blah.
Bleh.
It's terrible.
But I don't think ghosts have superpowers and can actually mimic you.
if if there is, maybe it depends on the type of entity if they have the ability to mimic
I don't
someone.
know. I
Do you believe in
with how
multiple
much we've
different
been
types of
talking
ghosts?
about residual energy and entities and like potentially different cheese layers and warped records, makes it feel like mimics are less of a potential actual entity, and like these arguments for the other thing sound more reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But there is that potential that they could actually be a kind of spirit or an entity or something that is trying to mimic you, or for some reason
No.
I don't know.
What?
Typically in these sort of circumstances, when you think of a mimic, you think of something negative.
Well, we'd be remiss here if we didn't
What?
mention Dweller and the whole
Mm-hmm.
idea of um the your shadow self, right? The whole idea of the Dweller is the
Mm-hmm.
shadow self, the bad version of you that you don't want to face. A
The
lot of
bad,
people,
scary, insecure version of you.
yes, and a lot of people theorize that that creates a doppelganger, a double. That
Mm-hmm.
your double, your doppelganger is actually like what you would classify as your shadow,
Yeah.
the dweller. So there's a lot of that element and a lot of mimic and doppelganger. And they even say with doppelgangers, traditionally, if you see your own doppelganger, you die. So it's traditionally a scary kind of thing. You don't want it. You want to shy away
You
from
don't want to see
encountering.
your doppelganger. That reminds me of a story. Remember when it was like a few years ago when we were at the Paranormal Mill conference
At the old
and
mill in Dundee.
in Old Mill in
Mm-hmm.
Dundee, and one of the tables, the booths that was near us, I don't remember this guy's name. I don't remember what team he's part of, but someone says that they saw his doppelganger, a pure copy of him, going upstairs in the mill
Oh
while
yeah, I
he
remember
was
that.
sitting
Mm-hmm.
at the table in that same room next to us the whole time and never got up. But that guy swears to God he walked right past him, walked upstairs, and came downstairs and was all confused. I was like, I thought you were just walked upstairs. Like, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And that night was weird too. That investigation, like I do think a portal opened that investigation too. That was the first time we ever got Seven come through and all that stuff.
Oh,
And
something happened
it was
that
talking
night
about
there.
Madison Seminary. Because
Mm-hmm.
a few
Oh
times before
my
Madison,
God.
we
Ben,
went to
I totally
Madison.
forgot about that.
Yep.
I forgot about that too.
Yeah, we went to Madison not too long after, and there were like a couple investigations. The rest were at my apartment, but that was the only
Wow.
non-apartment investigation that basically said things that it turned out to be very accurate about our investigation of Madison Seminary. And then we went to Madison Seminary, and a lot of stuff had to do with past, present, and future, and
Mm-hmm.
the time.
That's so weird.
And then on the spirit box,
Yeah.
it was saying Adam's name multiple times, and then we go to
Mm-hmm.
Madison, and you hear Adam's name or Adam's voice come through the spirit box. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of connections. And then right before that quote unquote portal opened, again a mimic. So could it be something with this whatever a portal is? Could it just be well, this was a kind of
It,
a tear in like we could see
a
different.
thinning in between dimensions or
A thinning
different
in between
times or
Yes.
everything. I feel
yeah.
like.
Wait, so are we
Yeah.
all agreeing that whether you call it a residual thing or something else, mimics are tied to time in some degree?
I think it's a strong possibility. Before this podcast, before we started recording this episode, I would have never thought of it. Never
Me
thought of
neither.
it.
This is all raw. This is what this
This
podcast.
This
is
This
is
is
really
our
rough.
th-
Now,
this is this is what I want this podcast to always be, is just our raw, normal conversations. So
mhm,
this is why we don't come with, I mean, obviously, if we see an article or read something in
very
a book,
basic prep.
we're gonna bring it, but
Yeah.
this is just
Now,
our raw.
I want to bring up our like something that physically like mimics us. Like example, when I've done the trespass exercise a few times, I physically like saw myself age and saw myself as like a older 70-ish year old lady or something, but it was still me. And then you also, Ben, that one time you had that
Don't
bad dream, you
don't.
also saw me as an old lady that was something was mimicking me. My physical
Mm.
features.
And so you know that's all connected. So, and that's all.
It's like
I'll just
mimicking doesn't necessarily have to just be voice. It can be like a actual physical
we're
whatever as
we're
well.
gonna. Actually, I don't even know. Did we ever talk? We did multiple times. I don't even know. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you what episode this was on. But long story short, there was this terrible dream right before the Midwest Weird Fest where we showed the original film Dweller, which at some point the director's cut is gonna come back out and be streaming. So it'll be fun to drop that. But anyways, the uh, right before we screened it in Wisconsin, I had this terrible dream where I saw the Dweller again for the third time, and right as I was staring at the scariest thing I've ever seen, jump scare, old
Me.
Angela, 70-year-old Angela, staring at me, smiling, like with a knowing grin, being like, "Do you know who I am? You know who I am." And it was absolutely terrible. That's kind of underselling how terrible the dream was, but we no, we talked about that
We talked about it a few times.
We've
on
talked about it a few
I
times.
think, but I think on the Owls episode, right?
Was it owls? I don't remember.
I
Maybe a
don't
little
think it was
bit.
the Owls episode.
I don't
I
know.
I have a
Maybe it was
vague
the Dreams
recollection.
episode.
Yes. Okay, so episode 10 of this podcast, Dreams in the Paranormal, and then I swear the episode right after about owls. I vaguely remember that being like an episode I was like tuning out half the time, being like, "Why are we talking about owls?" And then we started talking about like the Dweller again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyways, um, yes, because that's directly placing your mimic, Angela, with the Dweller on the Threshold, which is a, like I said, often tied with your double, with your, you know, um, shadow. And this was a literal shadow that your doppelganger blocked. So you blocked the view of your shadow.
Oh, I wasn't aware that I blocked the view of the dweller.
Yeah, now I'm getting flashbacks of this. God damn it, Angela.
I'm sorry. I
This
got
is I
flashbacks too from the fucking mill because of the whole seven in Madison popping up.
This is our past horrors. Now we're getting scary. This is the mimics are supposed to be scary and a little
They
unnerving.
are
So now
scary.
we're
It's
getting
very
back to this.
unnerving.
So yes, my point
I don't
being,
think I've ever once had like a pleasant mimic situation. Oh, the one that just happened at the state house was the most pleasant one.
okay. This is
Uh,
what I expected this episode to be. It's like it's all scary. It's not pleasant. And then like the first half of the episode, you're trying on some like bravado or whatever, and just kind of I say the rug is being pulled out under you, Angela. It was the most closest thing to pleasant, not it was pleasant. I guess the point being, though, at the end of the day, is like these things are related. These weird moments where there's time being altered, where we're making films, where we're doing things, where we're dealing with concepts like the Dweller that are very much about your double, right? And we're making a film about that. Of course, we're gonna have mimic encounters around that that film and that time of our lives. I'm not saying that I saw the
Yeah.
Dweller on the Threshold, the occult symbol, is actually this entity out to murder me in my sleep. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it makes sense that I encountered a mimic type of thing, and we all encounter mimic stuff when we're dealing with that concept and making a film about it. Because I think making a film about anything could have us fucking with time,
Mhm.
and um, even Piercini, we had mimics. State House.
All of this is breaking my brain. Like, it's too
All of it is
much.
so. All of it is. I'm getting a lot of memories suddenly. This is breaking my mind. This is breaking my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
God. Oh,
Also,
God.
ironically, for this episode, I have no idea how long we've been talking. I don't know what time we started at.
I don't know
I don't know
either.
what time we started either.
So since our brains are broken, we'll move into final thoughts.
We probably could keep talking about it, but like,
We'll come
Yeah.
back
I'm way too
to
overwhelmed
it.
now.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just I feel like my whole thoughts on, like, just because of this one conversation, my whole thoughts on paranormal activity and ghosts and everything is slightly shifting, and I don't like that.
It's when things like this happens, it really shifts your perspective.
It really
When
does,
you
cause,
see
cause, cause,
everything
cause
connect,
Ben's statement of "I don't believe in intelligent hauntings anymore" is sounding more and more plausible. And everything does really seem, is it residual? Could it actually be could it be residual?
I'm glad it took 40 episodes to make one singular sentence make sense. Well,
yeah, yeah,
I think, but that's the thing is too, is like, this recording this episode, this is us coming off of our investigation from the state house,
mhm.
which a lot of the energy there felt like it was residual.
yeah,
Like, I've
yes.
never had a
But
location, that's just our experience. Other
yeah,
people may have experienced other things. To us, the hauntings there felt very residual, and I've never had a experience like that.
And it makes sense now. This one thing I always thought was an outlier of Angela's voice coming through, but it makes sense though if it's so residual. And maybe then we were debating the whole night, how do you even investigate a residual haunting? Maybe the best thing
Yeah.
to do is just to engage with it, put your energy there, and the more you investigate, the more likely you are to be encountering something, even if it's yourself.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know.
And then, oh, all the. Okay, want me to break your brains again?
No.
yes.
Most of the activity we were having happen at the State House. We caught some EVPs. We. Some really cool EVPs. We caught this weird thing happening on camera in the basement with the infrared light. Looked like
Mhm.
a shadow pass in front of it. The main thing we had happen was we would knock, and then something knocked back to us.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we were knocking all night, so
Yeah.
could that just be the
Could that have been
residual?
us, our residual energy?
Could that be
Mm.
either mimicking the knock, or be us knocking? That then us knocking again triggers that memory imprint. You see what I mean? Maybe in dealing with residual hauntings, you just gotta engage with it, and the more you knock, the more likely you are to hear one of your knocks again later in the
Mhm.
night.
But the only thing I could say is, did knocking only happen after we knocked? It never happened
Yes,
randomly,
but
like
again,
on
the
its
point
own.
is after we knocked. We got there, and before we started investigating, no knocking. After we started knocking to elicit responses, and then we would occasionally hear a knock.
Mhm.
Coincidence?
Makes you think.
My brain hurts. Now I'm tired.
Blah.
You made me think about things.
Ah,
Ugh.
heaven
Dang it.
forbid.
Heaven forbid you made me use my
Ah,
brain.
God. Dang
God,
it.
Ben,
Gosh. Thinking.
you're
Blah.
the worst.
Sorry.
Please never say that like that ever again.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I'm done.
No, no.
I think I scared you guys off from ever playing Simon Says again.
I need a nap.
Alright, good night, everybody!
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Paranormal Lens. If you liked what you heard, every 5-star rating and positive review tells the algorithms we're a worthy podcast and pushes us out to more listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll see you next Thursday for another paranormal deep dive.